Welcome to Traditional Bow Hunting and Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkoviak, and today we're going to make this super simple for you. Okay, there are only 3 rules to super scary sharp. Doesn't matter if you're doing knives, doesn't matter if you're doing broadheads. Concepts are the same. Doesn't matter if it is a double bevel, or here we can show a single, but here we have a double bevel broadhead with 2 bevels. And then this one over here is a single bevel. You can see it just shining on the one side. Here you got double bevel, so you got them on, so basically these are equal on both sides. This is only one side sharpened and the other side is flat. So single bevel, double bevel on your broadheads, doesn't matter. Knife, doesn't matter if it is a big or a small. Here we have 2 different models of knives. We have our amazing hiker model right here from Travis Styles. I'll put links down below for this stuff here, but that amazing one, my absolutely incredible, one of my all-time favorites, about a 15-year-old rat number 7. Love this knife, but doesn't matter if it's big, it's little. The concepts are the same. You know, I mean, look at a blade size difference, yet I sharpen them exactly the same using the exact same stuff and systems as I do to sharpen broadheads. None of it makes a difference, okay? It's all the same. And it doesn't matter the hardness level, doesn't matter any of that kind of stuff. So whatever you want to do makes absolutely no difference in your system. There are still 3 rules that apply. Let me actually move those knives so I don't accidentally lean in and cut myself on them. There we go. But there are 3 rules. 3. System is irrelevant, it's just these 3 rules that matter. Doesn't matter if you're using diamond stones, you're using a whetstone, you're using a ceramic rod, you're using a belt sander, you're using a land ski system, you're using a roller system. I don't care what it is. None of it matters. Okay, whatever you want. I don't care if it's high grit, if you're using a file, if you're using multiple grits of stone. None of it matters. Okay, it's all fine. Every one of them will work. Okay, there is no difference there. A Work Pro, a Harbor Freight sharpener, one of the pull-through rod style ones, a Lansky V-Rod, Spider, none of it matters. Okay, 800 grit, 400 grit, 1000 grit, 200 grit, 120 grit sandpaper on a block, 400 grit sandpaper on a block, 2000, 5000 grit Japanese water, none of it matters. The only thing that matters is these 3 rules, okay? Angles don't matter. What if one angle's going this way and one angle's going that way? You have to keep both angles exactly the same. Well, actually, we don't. We've proven that quite often now, haven't we? I mean, we actually make, and I just showed you, I'm using this one because it's big and bold and shows, but a single bevel. Single bevel means it is sharpened on one side, okay? This side is flat. This side is beveled. You have a single bevel. One side flat, one side angle. So if you can get that sharp, we've proven to ourselves that they don't have to both be the same angle. One can be this angle, one can be this angle. It doesn't matter as long as we follow 3 simple rules. The rest is irrelevant. So we know your angles don't matter. What media you use doesn't matter. What your sharpening method is doesn't matter. What grit stones you're using doesn't matter. 3 rules matter. Plain and simple. Rule number 1, create a burr. That is the only thing that has to happen. Okay? So how do you create a burr? We'll use this knife because it's big, bold, and easy to see. So when I sharpen this, and I don't care if you are drag sharpening it, whetstone sharpening it, pole sharpening it, running it on a belt sander, I don't care what you're doing. Create a burr means to take this side right here. So if you're sharpening this side, you want that edge to come up and burr over like that. Okay? You want that metal to burr to this side. So when I rub my hands over here, I feel nice and smooth because I've been sharpening that side. But when I run my hand here, tink, my fingernails are clicking, kink, 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 and catching and hooking on that burr that is formed on this side. I want that burr there. Okay? Looks like that, a little burr. Okay? As I sharpen this side, I want that burr of metal to form. When I sharpen this side, I want that burr to form there. So when I have that burr formed over on this side right here, I am done sharpening that side. Now we're going to do a little fine tuning, but I am done. That side is sharp. I have a burr formed that I can feel here. Rule 1. Okay? Rule 1. Now we do rule 1 again on the other side. So now I come to this side and I sharpen this side until that burr that was over here is gone. Oh, remove the burr. Rule number 2. Did you hear me? Gone. So it's here, but then it's gone. And we have a burr now that comes over on this side. We created a burr. So we went rule 1, rule 2, back to rule 1. Okay, so now we have a burr on that side. So then we go back to rule 2 again and we remove that burr. So we form a burr on one side. Mandatory. Okay, you can't just do this on one. It has to be both. Even on a single bevel. Has to be. Form a burr on one side. Remove that burr by sharpening the other side until you create the burr on side 2. Remove that burr till you have them pretty evened out. Okay, so how that would look on here is, so you're going to sharpen this, and again, the media doesn't matter, what you're using doesn't matter. I've actually shown you videos where I took a $400 knife and I took a file. I took my broadhead file and I just wrenched on it. I wrenched and beat it and it worked perfect. It sharpened it razor sharp. I showed you in the video with just a file. Okay, so again, don't think that there is as much art form to this as, well, let me rephrase that. There is tremendous art form to it in your touch, in pressure, in skill level, in things like that. But the concept and the science is the same, regardless of every single piece of thing that you could use to sharpen with. I can get this knife, scary razor, unbelievable scalpel sharp on the back of a coffee mug. I can do this on my car window. I can get it that sharp. Okay, so I can do it. I can do it on a rock outside if I want to, and then have something I can strop it on. I can make it scary razor sharp. I promise you, I've done it. So don't get too caught up in this. Remember, create the burr, remove it, and create one on either side. That's all there is to it. Sharpen with a burr, remove that burr by sharpening here for a burr, then sharpen that side gently, less pressure until you have point. Problem solved, okay? That is your first part. Then we have to strop that, okay? Because your point, when you create a point, it is sharp, but it is not razor sharp. There's a whole bunch of little microscopic burrs, little particles. You got burrs that are kind of going each way, fighting all this little weird stuff that's happening on that blade on the end. A strop will get rid of that. Okay, you can strop with cardboard. Take a piece of cardboard, lay it down, take your knife. You only strop backwards, back bladed. Okay, it's the only way to strop. Never strop into, or I should say like here, never strop into your strop. It's always a back bladed process. For broadheads, for knives, for everything, it's back bladed. So when you do that, you're going to take and you're going to strop. You're going to take that, lay that cardboard down, strop it. Again, not heavy pressure, light pressure. If it's a big blade, it's going to need a longer strop, or you're going to have to take more time as you work that strop like this, and you're going to work it. The reason I'm not showing you one is because it doesn't matter. It can be a piece of cardboard. It can be a piece of leather. It can be anything you want it to be. Leather and cardboard work fantastic. Finished by denim, which is your blue jeans, on your blue jeans works incredible. Okay, I've done videos on this. This isn't how to sharpen. It's understanding why why do people overthink it. Okay, it's not a hard process. Strop that. Okay, if you got a bigger knife, you're using a longer piece of strop. Cardboard works good because you can work down that whole thing. Lay it right on the corner of a table where you can set it, this flat table, and you can just work it down like that and work right on down that side of the table. All right, with that long piece of cardboard. Then bring it this way. Work it along that piece of cardboard. If you don't have one that big, you're going to have to just work shorter. You're going to go from here and work shorter strokes, but whatever you can, and you work it. If you have a smaller knife, then you can work quicker because you got a smaller blade to work with as you strop. Okay, sweet, simple. Broadhead, no different. This one is dull, so I can use this, but same thing. You're going to just work it just like this and strop back and forth. Okay, like that. Again, dull. I would not do that with this small of a, on my hand that close. But that's your concept. Strop it. You'll bring that and you'll get rid of all that stuff on there, and that's what makes a perfectly sharp head, knife, whatever it is. Nothing more. It does not matter if you are a single bevel, like the broadheads. You have a double bevel, which is what most of your knife blades are, like these, where you have two blades, edges that come together, okay, like that. You have micro bevels. A lot of people put micro bevels on them. A micro bevel is where you sharpen it mainly and get it set, and then at the end you're going to put that other little, you know, you're going to sharpen it down to a point, and then you are going to just fine tune very lightly with a little bigger point on there, a little bigger angle, and it's going to be a little tougher there, a little stronger. Get rid of that little needle tip on there and make it a little stronger. Micro bevels, or as they're often called, a double bevel. This is usually just called a V. We call it a double bevel in the arrow world, traditional and broadhead world, but in the knife world, it's called, this would be called a V. This would be called a single V. And this would be called a double bevel because there's two bevels. Convex. Convex is a little more complicated to sharpen, but this concept is the same. Create a burr, remove a burr, create a burr, remove a burr, strop it. Okay, nothing changes. On a hollow ground, hollow grounds are more tricky, but the concept is the same. They're tricky because they got this little hollow effect in there, but it's everything for every blade type, for everything you're going to do is 100% exactly the same. None of it matters. Okay, that's the whole purpose of this video, for you to understand. 3 rules. Create a burr, remove a burr, and strop it. That is all there is to razor scary sharp. Now, you can strop with cardboard, then strop with leather, then strop with denim, whatever you want. This strop part right here, this is where the magic happens, okay? Now, this is where you get sharp, okay? This is what we call sharp. This is our sharpening process right there. That's what gets it sharp. You create a burr, remove a burr, even them out with a little less pressure so that you kind of get this from one burr to the other burr to being a point, like that, where you have a good point. That is sharpening. This is what takes it to the next level kind of stuff. And you can do any of this with anything. It doesn't matter if you prefer to go multiple levels of grits of stones, okay, because you want it to be a good push sharp kind of thing, or you want to leave it kind of rough and jagged with more of a file or a 300 or 400 grit paper versus 1,000 or 1,200 grit paper. That's all personal preference stuff. Okay, just like whether you use diamond or use ceramic, wet stones versus belt sander. That's all preference. The concept is the same. Sharpen it here, then strop. My personal preference for strops is going to be cardboard, C, we're just putting cardboard. Then we're going to go L for leather, and then we're going to go D for denim. That, CLD for stropping, that is my preferred. Okay, the stropping is where you take it from sharp to super scary sharp. That comes in this process. Cardboard is great for, especially if it's corrugated, okay? It's better if it's got a little squishiness to it. That really gets in there. But on that cardboard, I'll do 50 strokes on each side. So if you're doing a broadhead, that's a double bevel broadhead, or a knife, you're doing a knife, 2 edges, so you got an edge here and an edge here. I guess it's the same for all of them, so I take that back. But 50 on a side, okay? 50 per side on a knife, that's 2 edges. On a broadhead, that's actually 4 edges. 1, 2, 1, 2. So it takes a little longer, but I'll do 50 per side on cardboard. All one side first, flip it, the other side, then I'll do 50 on leather, and then I'll do 100 on denim. Okay, that's kind of, I'm just throwing you a number that's going to be a good starting reference for you. But that part of the strop is what does all of this. Relates to here, to the strop. This relates to sharp. Okay? It's the only rules that matter. 3 of them. Create a burr, remove a burr, sharp. Strop. Cardboard, leather, denim, scary sharp. The rest of it doesn't matter. You could use a $6 sharpening system, or you can use a $6,000 sharpening system. Makes no difference. Master one, try something, experiment with a different system, but remember this, pressure is your friend, okay? P here, we're going to put it for pressure. Pressure is what's going to matter. When you're in this burr making process, I don't think the pressure makes any difference. You want to take that thing and grab that knife, and you want to grab that thing, and you want to really wrench. I don't care. You're creating a burr and a bevel. You're not going to hurt nothing, okay? You want to then, as you start getting closer to the end, less pressure. Slow it down. Doesn't matter which way you're going here, okay? Whatever. I'm just going to cut that, but point being, whatever you're doing doesn't matter. But then when you start getting towards the end of this, when you got that burr, you're getting ready for that, you get that burr, make it. Make the burr on the other side. Then gentle to remove those burrs, even them out, and get that created point right there where you get it nice and even. You'll feel it on there. You'll feel that, it'll feel kind of bitey on one side and bitey on the other side. If it only feels bitey on one side, you're dealing with a burr. You need to get rid of that so that you got bites on both sides, okay? Where the burr is gone and what you feel is the point, not feel the burr. When you have that spot, you are then ready for stropping. Cardboard, leather, denim. Blows your mind, does awesome stuff. I have videos that go into real detail on this, and this wasn't about that. This is to tell you though, do not be afraid of sharpening stuff. Do not think you cannot do it. It is 3 simple rules. Create a burr, remove a burr, strop it. There you go. There'll be some links down below for some of this stuff, as well as some cool sharpening systems. Anything you need, put it in the comments. We'll be sure to happy to answer it for you. Thanks for watching.